This is the podcast where we decide everything in the world of gaming so you don't have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeffrey Grubb. With me is...
Mike Minotti.
Hooray!
Woo!
Hey, Mike, it's good to be back with you. How you been?
Good.
How was your holiday?
Oh, holiday's great. I'm always a big Christmas guy. I always have a lot of fun during the holidays. Right after the holidays, I got the flu, so that wasn't quite as much fun. New Year kind of sucked, but Christmas is great.
I feel like I always get sick during New Year. I didn't this year, thankfully, because I was traveling. God, that would have sucked really bad. I'm sick often.
I'm not sick often, but except for like the end of 2017, like I think in November I was out for a bit, and then I had this flu for like a whole. Like usually when I'm sick, it's like a day. I had this flu for a week. It was pretty crappy.
So my wife works in a school, and she says it's the bad flu this year. There's a really bad flu going around, hitting everybody, and there's not much they can do about it. So it sounds like that's what you got.
Yeah, next year I need to be better about shots and all that stuff.
It helps to go by faster with this particular strain. Everyone should wash your hands, is what I'm trying to say. Let's get into this thing. We can't take too much time because it's Friday. We don't want to do this forever. Screw our listeners, Mike. That's what I always say.
Yeah, it's all about us.
It's all about us.
That's what I've been saying for years.
I'm starting to get on the Mike Minotti train when it comes to that. Screw everybody else. It's all about us.
Mike's like lazy or cynical. Everyone comes around to my side eventually.
In today's episode, we're going to be going over some quick news that, man, there's some news that happened. I was pretty surprised to see oh, shit happened while I was not paying attention. Some games that we've been playing a little bit, and then we're going to decide the top 5 games that we're going to look forward to in 2018. We'll try to do that pretty quick. I think me and Mike will be able to handle this by ourselves relatively quickly. I'm confident. All the times we said that it went wrong during the Game of the Year stuff, now it's just me and you, Mike.
We don't have those other guys bringing us down.
Roadblocks, as I call them. Yeah.
I don't have Stephanie here to give you a heart attack by hating on Mario.
Yep, I was when I was editing that was truly a hell of a moment. She's like, "This is not a personal attack," and then Mario. God damn.
I knew it was. You know what? I knew that argument was coming, but I didn't expect it to come so soon.
Right? Yeah.
I expected it to come in the let's eliminate games phases.
Yeah, I figured they would let it lie until it got to the later arguments, but she's just right up front.
Right,
explain why it's good.
There's 20 games on here. Which one do you want out the most? It was like Call of Duty was still there. There's some other things. After Mario, it's like, God damn it.
So at a certain point, I'm thinking not a personal attack, maybe was a personal attack. Just going after my heart.
She was going after Mario, but she was going after us.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, we're going to get all this stuff. I should do the credits first. You can get more from me and Mike at GamesBeat.com. If you have something to share with us, you can email the podcast at gamespluspodcast@venturebeat.com. We also have Twitter accounts at GamesBeat and at GBDecides. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch, there's an audio version of this show that you can get wherever pods are caught. Finally, if you like the show, rate us on Apple Podcasts because it helps people find us, and we really appreciate it. So, Mike, let's talk about a couple of games real quick. You were sick. I was traveling. I wasn't paying attention to work. So even when I did get a chance to game, I was just kind of playing stuff that I've already been playing. How about you? What were you up to?
Yeah, more so than playing any new games, this is kind of a week where I was getting sick of games I've been playing a lot of.
Okay, good.
Destiny 2 kind of being the big one where this revelation came up where the expansion came out. It didn't add very much. It changed almost nothing about the way I play the game.
Right.
I hadn't even done the new raid, and just from doing the weekly kind of quests, which are just go play multiplayer for a bit, go do some strikes. I had gotten to the max level, the gear level, and I did not feel accomplished. I did not feel powerful from it. And I was like, well, when's the next expansion's rumored to come out in March? What the hell am I supposed to do till then? I was like, it's just the point. Everything I was doing in that game was easy. I had to do harder things. I had to go on some Reddit forum to find people to play with to do a raid or something. Oof. I was just yeah. So and that's actually led to me and my friends. Some of us we're playing World of Warcraft right now. We all play new characters. Yeah.
So wait. You guys are playing Destiny 2, and you were all like, guess I want to play World of Warcraft. Is that kind of how it went?
It's kind of turned into, yeah. Because at least here it's at least I know if I make a new character and want to do that, that's at least gonna take a lot of time. There'll be a progression to it, It's something. Mm-hmm. Whereas Destiny 2, there's not much progression, there's not much content, and it's it sucks. Is like I really did enjoy it. Doing that first raid was super fun. They did a really good job of that raid, and it's just like there's been no motivation with me and my friends to see what the new raid's like, to go back to the old raid. I don't know, that the expansion was basically a big miss, and it's kind of hurting the game right now.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's a bummer. I think Destiny 2 didn't have a ton going for that. I mean, it always seemed like there was more people complaining about it than singing its praises. But you know, that happens with a game that is maybe like this and is popular and it's kind of just doing what people expected.
Right. Yeah, I like the idea of a shooter MMO so much, and I like a lot of like what Destiny 2 does mechanically, but it really just needs so much more. I know a lot of people say Warframe, and I think my brother's been trying it, and I don't know, maybe I need to go to actually try that. I know that's very dungeon focused.
Right.
Like, yes. I wish there was something that could actually do like an MMO style large world also on top of that. But
yeah, it always seems like it's going to be a Diablo or a first-person shooter instead of an MMO first-person shooter. It seems like that's kind of what we're always going to get.
It's always more like a battle, or what was that called? The cell shaded thing. That's a big brain fart. You know.
I know what you mean. But
like Claptrap and stuff.
Oh yes, no, I can't remember.
Borderlands, Borderlands.
There you go.
But I mean, part of the problem, it's always the problem with Destiny 2 is that the game looks so good and it is like this high end thing. The problem is it's really hard to make content for that stuff. Like if you need to make just a new dungeon, like the people who make World of Warcraft, they make a dungeon. I'm sure it takes time, but I imagine making a strike in Destiny 2 is just a much bigger endeavor and takes up a lot more resources. And that's why there's 7 of them or whatever, if that.
I've been playing Mario. I'm getting really close now to getting all the stars. I'm in the Luncheon Kingdom. I started like. This is a weird Freudian thing, but I started sandwiching it, like going from each side, not because I'm in the Luncheon Kingdom, but just because I was like, oh, I'm going to do all these kingdoms from the start, and then I kind of went to the end and started working my way backwards a little bit because I wanted to do Darker Side of the Moon. I beat that. Was very, very pleased. That was very exciting.
Oh, that was awesome. That's a really cool final. Have you heard of Frog Skip?
No, I haven't. I've been avoiding that as much as I can, kind of about this kind of stuff, because I'm having fun exploring and figuring that stuff out myself. But I can't wait to go back and like see what people have done.
This is more of like a speedrunner issue where, like there was a whole category. It was called, I think, 503 moons, because the idea is you get the moons to unlock Darker Side, then you beat Darker Side. That's the end of the round.
So 500 to unlock Darker Side, 3 when you beat it. Right.
But people discovered that there's like you could possess one of those frogs in the beginning and do this weird kind of floating trick. We can kind of skip over basically the entire Darker Side and go straight to the thing at the end, not to give anything away.
Right.
It's kind of this controversial thing because it's obviously much faster.
Right.
But it's like, well, you're kind of skipping Darker Side, which is kind of the point of the run. That's what kind of makes it fun. So it's this kind of interesting thing.
Yeah. I wonder if they should make it like 500. Well, no, because I was going to say 504.
I guess you could always just have a category that says no frog skip.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, that's off the track. I wondered if that was possible. I like looked at that and I'm like, huh. It seemed like maybe if you did this just right, maybe you could do it with a frog. And I tried it maybe a couple times and it didn't work.
Yeah, some weird thing because there's like a little pond next to the one like Loch Ness Monster thing, and you do something in there, and then your frog just kind of starts floating.
Okay.
You just kind of float over there.
Okay.
I mean, it's definitely a glitch. It's not like the other Mario things where you're intentionally using mechanics and being clever. This is just a straight up glitch.
Right. So yeah, I think those categories as they suss out for Odyssey are going to continue to be fascinating. I can't wait to see what they look like in a couple of years. Other stuff, Tiny Metal and Bridge Constructor Portal. Tiny Metal, I might have talked about this before. The Advance Wars game. It's still good, still very Advance Wars. The multiplayer is still not in it, which I think I'm looking forward to really trying with some people. I had a lot of fun playing multiplayer Advance Wars back in the day. So I want to see how that turns out. At this point, though, with this game, the most you hear about it is people being mad at the developer because the developer, I guess, had like a failed Kickstarter or like a successful Kickstarter, and then the game never came out, and they had the money and used it, and then nothing ever came from it. So everyone's really mad at them, and I don't know. Like, it's weird to like be like, I don't know if I care. Like, I just want to play Tiny Metal and like maybe talk about it as like as a game on its own. But like I get why people are like frustrated that this game is like getting attention and seems to be doing okay because the game that they backed is dead and their money's gone. But at the same time, don't kickstart anything. Like just don't ever kickstart anything. And if you do, just expect that it's going to be you flushing your money down your toilet. Like yeah. If you're not willing to like take that money and flush it down the toilet, then don't kickstart something. I think that would be my rule. So Bridge Constructor Portal. That is Bridge Constructor with portals. The writing is okay. I don't know if maybe like those portal jokes aren't working on me anymore, or maybe that because it's been a while. Like those jokes have run their course. And like I see a cake and I'm like, okay, I get it. Like I really get it at this point, guys. But that's not what's really drawing me to the game. I could turn that stuff off and I'd be just as happy. I'm really enjoying having the complicated the complications of having portals to get these vehicles across these gaps. It really adds a lot to the Bridge Constructor genre, I guess. And I've been digging that. I've been playing it on PC, and I think it's out on iOS, and if it comes out on Android, I'll probably buy it there as well. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I broke the Switch out and plugged it into the TV, and we played some Overcooked, and I wanted to play like Jackbox Party Pack and stuff, but family gatherings are so crazy, it was hard to get that together.
Yeah, I want to try that new like Zelda-like game people were talking about.
Yeah, I Blossom something. I want to try it out as well. I think I might dig into that this weekend. We should see if we can get codes. Maybe you and I can do some video of it. That's one I want to look into. I will say I did try out the 8BitDo wireless like Super Nintendo looking controllers that actually work with the Switch. They're third-party controllers for the Switch and everything else. They like connect to everything. They're really good. They're like surprisingly well made. The analog sticks feel really good. I played Sonic Mania with it, and it was kind of cool to be playing a retro game with like an actual D-pad and stuff. I was happy with it. Okay, we should get into the news. Let's get through these headlines pretty quickly. There's some stuff we could talk about here.
Real quick, Games Done Quick starts on Sunday.
I actually had no idea. Like I said, I completely lost track of time, but you're right. That's always at the very beginning of the year.
Yeah, it's this Sunday.
That's exciting. Yeah, we should do a couple stories. Just kind of, I know we've talked about like things to look forward to before for this one, but we should still kind of maybe remind people. We could break that video out again where we talked about the things to look forward to. Okay, yeah. So news. So the big headline here. Nintendo continuing to like own 2017 and now taking a lot of momentum into 2018. The system has only been out for 10 months, and through that period, through the 10-month period, Nintendo announced that the Switch is the fastest-selling video game system of all time in the United States. I think that's still surprising, even though I knew it was doing really well this whole time. Like, that's always been the story, but I still found that a little bit surprising.
Well, one of the things that helps it is that, like a lot of systems, they have a launch period that's also the holiday period. Whereas the Switch kind of had that launch and then a holiday that were separate because it was this March launch, right? It was very different. I think it's still very significant. I think, part of it is having the strong release schedule that it did, having Zelda right up front, and these games coming out after that, and then having Mario to close out the year and, even Skyrim and stuff like that.
And it kind of giving people all these ideas of like how they can use the system in between those big games. Nintendo's done a good job of nailing that as well. It's obviously, Nintendo's doing fine again now on the home console front. This is not going to be a Wii U situation. This is going to be a system that they can support for at least the next 5 years or whatever. Yeah, I think it's a PS4 situation is what it strikes me as. Like it'll be, I think it'll have a similar trajectory to the PS4 and maybe a little bit better. Probably somewhere between that and the Wii, but maybe I don't know, maybe in 3 or 4 years it will have that drop off. Unless Nintendo finds interesting ways to refresh it, like the Wii did. But I don't know. I doubt it. It seems like Nintendo has found a really good way of getting ahead of the technology curve. Like it's on this mobile processor way before Sony or Microsoft figured that out. And now if Sony and Microsoft wants to copy them, they're in like a really tough situation because they're using like energy intensive processors that are not going to work well with mobile, and they have the really big games like that are huge and would require disk drives, and it's just it's not great.
It always worked well for Nintendo because everyone already has the expectations that their games aren't going to be as like technologically advanced or demanding.
Right.
So they'd be able to get away with this, like, and be like, hey, look, it's on, it's portable. There's gonna be some sacrifice. Everyone's like, yeah, that's okay. Whereas like Sony doing it, maybe not quite as much.
So like I said, I wasn't paying too much attention. So as I was kind of getting back, and I caught up with a few podcasts, and I started hearing some headlines and digging into some of these stories. There was this event that usually happens at the beginning of the year where a bunch of hackers get together and talk about security flaws in popular things. And as is usual for this event, there is a new hack for a home console. This time it is the Nintendo Switch. Hackers have found a way to hack it open and boot up homebrew games, which basically just means the door for piracy is open. ROMs, exactly. But the thing here is, the thing why it's maybe not going to be too big of a deal is you have to be playing on a version 3.0 of the firmware, of the Switch firmware, and the Switch is already up to like version 4.0, and all games like Mario are going to have that baked into their thing. So if you go to play Mario, it's going to automatically install that stuff. So yeah, I mean, if you're connected to the internet, you're definitely already updated. So you're not going to be able to do this until they kind of catch up and figure out how to get these hacking situations to work on more recent firmware. But yeah, they're figuring this stuff out, and it's probably going to be a thing eventually. Although Nintendo does seem like it's maybe more on its game this time than it ever has been, like with the Switch, or with the 3DS and the DS getting pretty cracked open. I think this was from the same conference, the same security conference. Maybe the biggest story right now in technology. Intel CPUs have insane design and security flaws baked right into the hardware. One's called Meltdown. I can't remember the name of the other one, but basically they affect everything. Anything with an Intel processor in it. And this is all kinds of stuff. This is not just computers and phones. It's like refrigerators and stuff. And hackers are going to find ways to use this stuff. But really the biggest thing that I think most people that are listening to this would be worried about is, okay, so they're going to have to do a software update for these things, to patch these flaws. Is that going to affect gaming performance? And at first, a lot of I think maybe scaremongering and maybe some opportunists who are like AMD fanboys are like, oh yeah, you guys are going to lose like 30% of your frame rate, running games on Intel now. The first Windows patch is out. It's an emergency update security patch. It addresses this stuff, and the differences are negligible. No one can really see any big difference. So I think that's the good news, if you could take any good news out of this. These kinds of things happen, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that something like this has happened. It's not like it wasn't negligence from Intel, but it sounds like they're addressing it pretty quickly and getting things handled. Mike, I was only, like I said, I wasn't paying attention. Did you hear much about this? Has this been a thing?
Not really, actually. I wasn't following up on this stuff.
It's not too much in the gaming circles right now, but because it's Intel and it's not consoles. But we'll see. Finally, last story: Burnout Paradise HD Remaster is coming to the PlayStation 4 on March 16th in Japan. I'm hoping it gets announced for everywhere else. I imagine it would. Of course it would. It's EA. Why wouldn't they? So hopefully that means it's coming here soon. But yeah, that's very exciting. I love me Burnout Paradise.
It is cool. I am kind of at a point where I'd rather just get a new kind of game. Well, yeah, but this.
I mean, God.
Yeah. It's not that long ago that I booted this game up on Steam, and it was fun. But I was like, yeah, this is great. But I did this a while ago already, and
yeah, I guess that's fair. I think I'm ready to spend some time with it. I mean, hell, if it was on the Switch, I might spend a lot of time with it. But I don't know. We'll see. You're right. This is if this is a precursor to Burnout coming back in a major way, then I'll be even happier.
That'd be fun.
Okay, Mike, let's actually just go ahead. Let's hop into our main topic for this episode, the top 5 most anticipated games of 2018, or at least our chosen list of the games people should maybe care about the most. Let's just break this down from the beginning. What's like your biggest game? Do you have anything that jumps out right away when we say this?
Oh yeah. Oh, Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, of course. So you're already doing 2020 games, Mike. You already broke the list.
Yeah, oh no, it's got a 2018 release date, man. It's happening. Get used to it.
I'm not going to get used to it, but I'll accept it. I'll accept it for our purposes here. Tell me about why you're so confident it's coming out. Like, I mean, I know they've said it, made it sound like it really is, but like, why are you still confident?
Well, I don't, it's the release year. I mean, I know, these things get delayed, and maybe it will, but it's gotta become. I mean, first off, it took them forever to start making this game for whatever reason. Maybe Final Fantasy 15 / versus 13 was kind of the reason. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 2, which was one of my favorite games ever when it came out, it's like one of the last games I can remember, like, having that childlike, just absolute, like, craze for when it was, like, finally out. Like, I can't believe it's out. Like, literally driving up in the store and it being painful that I wasn't playing it yet. I was that excited for it, right? Like, that's the kind of feeling that you just almost can't get again as an adult. And that was 2006.
Yeah, man, wow.
Right? Like, the Xbox One had just come out. PlayStation 2 was kind of just about done. That's when Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. We had all these other, things since then. But yeah, it took forever to announce. And then even when they did announce it, they announced it very early. It was announced years ago, right? Gosh, I can't even remember what year. Maybe 2014 was announced. That even might be late.
Yeah, I think that's late. Yeah, I think 2013 is actually what it is. I think that's what I always remember hearing. But I mean, they're bad games, Mike.
No, they're not. They're great games. They are super exciting action RPGs with a lot of cool progression systems, very flashy combat, but that you still actually feel like you're in control of. And also, you get to fight alongside Donald Duck the entire game and like other people.
Fair. That actually was my favorite part of the first game. It's the only part maybe I liked. That first game actually is the only one I've played of these, and I did not like it at all. I think I'd go so far as to say I hated it every second.
Yeah, I know you don't like Kingdom Hearts, but get over it. Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be so good.
All right,
and nothing else. It's going to come, and it's finally here, right? This is a game that has certainly been waited for probably longer than anything else coming out this year.
Yeah, totally. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably the one that's got to go up here. I like Red Dead Redemption, but I think I'm putting this up there just because it seems like it's the game that people would most expect to be up here.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, I love Red Dead Redemption 1. I can always say the same thing about Last of Us Part 2, where I feel like both of those original games were so good that I do have a bit of like, how can the sequel really be better? I don't know why I'm like that cynical about it, but I can't help have that feeling. But still, I'm definitely interested to see what it's like.
Yeah, I think Stephanie couldn't make it. She gave us a couple. I think Donut County. She's our indie game editor, basically.
Yeah, so a lot of
Donut County, Moss, that little VR game about the mouse, I think is what that one is. She mentioned a few others, and I'm not gonna be able to remember them off the top of my head.
The indie game I'm looking forward to is freaking Shovel Knight King of Cards.
Yes, I'm in a situation with Shovel Knight where it's like whenever I'm playing it, it's like, oh my god, I love these games so much, and then I forget about it, and then something reminds me that there's more Shovel Knight games coming, and I get excited all over again. Those guys have been making Shovel Knight games for a long time now, and each one keeps getting better, and so yeah, I really can't wait for what they're gonna do with this next thing. Let's actually.
It's got a card mini game.
So let's put it up there. Yeah, I want to see how that works too. King of Cards. They're gonna just make that into a mobile game probably, and like make a ton of money doing that, and they'll never make another Shovel Knight game.
Be like Gwent, which actually hasn't been a mobile game yet, right? Which is kind of strange. So.
So there's a bunch. So you guys did do an email thread here. I'm looking at this.
I have one more big one I gotta say.
Yeah, lay it on us. Let's hear it.
A little predictable for me, but it's Mega Man 11.
Yeah. This one I actually think is fair because I am very curious to see how Capcom treats Mega Man 11 or just Mega Man in 2018.
That's the thing. It's like it seems like they're finally treating it like they once did, right? Like, it's Capcom and Mega Man, right? Like, how can we not care about Mega Man? And it's like, well, you guys did it for 10 years, but I'm glad you do now.
Right. And so I want to, I think Austin Walker at Waypoint wrote this story like, he went through these phases of fandom where he would be like, oh, I'm really into this thing and I'm going to get really worked up over it. And it's my identity. And then I grew detached as I got older and was like, I'm not going to like attach my happiness to whether or not a game is good or not. And now I'm a little bit older. I'm like, you know what? It's okay to get excited about stuff and to like put like some faith in a thing and hope it's good and just kind of expect it to be good. Because then when it delivers, it maybe sometimes it's that much better. And I want to get that way with Mega Man 11, where I'm like, I want to believe that Capcom can do this, and I think I'm just going to choose to say this is a really big deal, and if they deliver on that, it would make it all the sweeter. So we'll see. We'll see if
none
they
of the core Mega Man games have ever been bad.
Right, yeah.
It's like, some of them have been much better. Like, some of them are all-time classics, and some of them are like, they're good but flawed. So like, I don't think there's a world where Mega Man 11 is a bad game. Like, it's not going to be
Right.
Mighty Number 9. Knock on wood.
Right. Yes.
And maybe it'll be great.
Yeah, and I'm hoping they can find a way to like really turn this into a long-lasting thing, a long-lasting revive of Mega Man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's some other like really big games coming out. Let's like knock out some like the big ones that we might not necessarily talk a lot about. Far Cry 5, Detroit Become Human, Crackdown 3. Are any of these? Yeah, see, I'm kind of with you on all of them. Crackdown 3, is not one I'm going to put faith in. I want to just let that one just like. I'm going to go in with low expectations from the beginning just because it seems to have trouble development.
Like maybe it could be a Doom and surprise me, but yeah, I do not have expectations for it.
Yeah, totally. State of Decay 2, this is one where it's like if you don't have any history with the series, I can understand why no one's excited about it. I think this game's going to be a big deal. I think this is going to be like one of those Xbox only games that actually hits finally. But who knows? Here's one that is big, and I think was probably should be on our list, even if I'm still hesitant about it, just because they keep saying all the right things. Spider-Man. So we saw that Spider-Man video at E3, and it was very heavy on the button prompts. It was
QTE.
QTE sequences, and I was very like, ooh, I'm not into this. From the sounds of it, that's like very just few and far between, and for the most part, it's going to be Batman-like combat or Batman-like gameplay. And maybe that's played out too, but I can imagine doing that in some really fun ways with a new character like Spider-Man. So I'm going to put it up for now, and we'll see if it lasts on this list.
How
are you feeling? Yeah, well, yes, you're probably right. How's Spider-Man for you? Like, are you kind of still shaky about that?
Yeah, I'm like excited, but I'm also a little like hesitant about it. Like I could see the world where like that doesn't work out somehow.
Right. Yeah. How are you feeling about Monster Hunter World?
I'm intrigued. I didn't play that beta when it happened. I know it seemed like everyone who did though didn't have it. Like had nothing but nice things to say about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. I've never gotten to do a Monster Hunter game.
I'll
give this one a shot.
A little bit of some of them. Like I can't. To be honest, I can't see a world where I'm like suddenly like, oh yeah, I'm really into Monster Hunter now.
Right. Exactly. That's the barrier I'm having as well. God of War though, that's one I can.
God of War looks great.
Yeah, it's one where I'm like I'm kind of over even watching the trailers because I'm like I'm just gonna play this game. I know I'm gonna play it. I just want to experience it that way. I hope it lives up to the hype I'm building up in my head. They're putting the camera behind his back a little bit more. They're making it maybe more cinematic and more focused on the story.
It's like one of the games I have more faith in. Just from like everything I've seen has convinced me so much, and because I think what they showed too has been like pretty long slices of the game.
Mm-hmm.
For this part, I'm like, yeah, this clearly looks fun and well done and interesting. And I don't, like Last of Us Part 2, I have these reservations because like what they're showing me, it's not a lot of gameplay, and even what they're showing, I'm like, I don't know about some of this stuff. Where almost everything I see of God of War, I'm like, yes, this is right.
Yeah. Yes, I think you're right. I think that one will probably make the list, although I don't know, it could get tight. Let's see. I want to look at actually. There's some release dates on the Wikipedia for 2018 in video gaming, and if I just look at January, like here are the biggest games in January for the rest of this month. Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, not really a big deal, but at the end we get Dragon Ball FighterZ, Monster Hunter World, and Dissidia Final Fantasy NT.
There's a lot of fighting games. I tell you what, there's only one I'm really looking forward to, but damn, am I looking forward to it.
Dragon Ball FighterZ is, so it's an Arc Systems game, and Arc makes those complicated, like BlazBlue and Guilty Gear games, but they've done some other stuff that is maybe more aimed at a broader audience, and I think they're going to do the same thing here. And it's an excellent looking game. It looks incredible.
It looks super good. When I played a little bit at A3, it was super fun. Yeah, I'm all about just like unleashing my inner 14-year-old self that's
Yes,
been buried
totally.
forever and like just completely getting into that.
Yeah,
Like I'm all about it. I'm like gonna probably get some like subscription to some weird anime thing and start watching Dragon Ball Super and just it's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. We were watching old family VHS tapes, and we're going through a bunch of them. And of course, one of them is a porn. It's like, of course, we found the one porn among all our family tapes. God damn it! And then one of them was just nothing but Dragon Ball Z. So it's like, okay, yeah, I was a teenager once. I get it. Although I don't think the porn was mine. I don't.
That's hilarious. Was it like? Never mind. I don't want to ask questions about the porn.
It was hardcore.
Like,
with a weird guy sitting on the couch watching them. It was wonderful. You should have seen the faces around the room. Everyone turned white. I thought it was hilarious.
That's very funny.
Okay, so yeah, nothing really else in January. I'm Dissidia. I know that could be
it's gonna
a surprising good time, but it's not Dragon Ball FighterZ.
That's probably the game that I'm like going to get and play that I know is going to be the worst game that I'm going to subject myself to, but like have to.
Right, exactly.
It's one of those duty of fanboy things.
Yes,
it's like, look, I like Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
but I guess I'm going to put this dumpster fire. Like I'll sometimes be amused, like, hey, look, it's a day for Final Fantasy 9. He's in HD, and there's like 15 different bars and meters and number menus up here. But
sounds like a good time to me. Is that Arc? That can't be Arc System Works as well.
God no. Oh God no. That's not Arc System.
It's got to be like just Square internal. All right,
so Arc System games are complicated. God.
Right, yeah. Okay, so looking at February, there is Shadow of the Colossus, that remake.
I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if it's like it is ultimately a remake. I don't know if it's like top 5.
Right. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it as well. But I'm the more I see of it, the more I'm like, I like the PlayStation 2 game better in terms of its looks. Civilization 6: Rise and Fall. I know that was a one that Jason mentioned in his like pick of games.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that they can make that game interesting again with this. So we'll see. Because it got to a point where I'm like, yeah, Civ 6, I could kind of take it or leave it. And I'm hoping like this is like their expansion that does what all their expansions tend to do for Civ games and just make it better and better and better. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of games in February. I mean, the one that I'm most excited about is honestly Dragon Quest Builders coming out on the Switch. But that's like a game from 2015 now or something, 2016. Dynasty Warriors 9. Bayonetta 1 and 2 coming out on the Switch.
Yeah.
Okay, Metal Gear Survive.
It's funny because, like, in a way, like, this should be good because the best part, like, Metal Gear Solid 5 had incredible gameplay. So the idea of just kind of, like, making a little bit more of that would be cool, but there's just so much baggage to this that it's kind of like with Star Wars Battlefront 2, where even though it's like I probably could have fun with this game, but I was like, nah, there's just too much baggage right now. I just can't like take the game for what it is.
Yeah, let me ask you, Battlefront 2, when you were home, you were at home, but like as you had, like were hanging out with family and maybe anyone that doesn't pay attention to games, it was asking you about work. Did anyone ask you about the Battlefront 2 stuff?
I have people like friends or just going to bars to ask me about that stuff all the time.
Right. Yeah.
It definitely hit mainstream. Yeah, yep. People knew about Battlefront 2.
Same here.
You saw we put together a list of like our 10 most traffic getting stories of the year, and like 4 of them were about Battlefront 2.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like people couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah. That and the Switch was a big deal. People were talking about the Switch. Yeah, and nothing.
Or people asking about Cuphead, not knowing that it was like us that did that.
Yes, that does happen.
That was the other thing this year.
God, yeah, that was really.
That was the thing that broke out. Man. Oh God.
God damn it. February. Again, I don't really see anything else in this list that stands out. March. I'm going through it. Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. That's probably pretty big one.
People are looking forward to it. Everyone really liked Yakuza 0. It seems like, right?
Right. Valkyria Chronicles 4. That's pretty cool. How about where are you on Sea of Thieves?
I'm pretty excited for Sea of Thieves. Actually, I think that's kind of up there. I think that's real interesting.
Yeah.
It's also real interesting as like the only major Microsoft exclusive of like almost the last couple years,
right?
Except for things like Crackdown 3 or whatever Forza it's up to. So
right. Yeah, you're right. So I'm very curious about it. The times I've played it, I see what they're going for, and now that they've kind of talked about the progression a little bit and how like you actually get quests from these various factions and stuff. I'm like, I could see how that game would work, and I could see how it'd be a really good time. And now that I'm also playing like more games with other people, like on Discord and maintaining a bunch of active Discords, it's a game I could see like working out in the way I'm playing games these days.
Yeah,
So.
okay. I hope it's not another Destiny 2 where it's just
Right.
ultimately not enough there.
Right, I agree. Yeah, so it'll be
Like,
really
I hope I don't play
interesting
it for
to see
enough, then I just like go back to World of Warcraft.
Right. I mean, it'll help that it seems to have that open world aspect of it. At least it seems to. We'll see. Okay, so there's a way out. I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, I'm the same way. Were you going to say something about Valkyria Chronicles 4?
Just that they made that spin-off this year that everyone hated.
It was garbage. It was trash.
So I feel like that's kind of hurt
like
the prestige of that franchise a little bit.
Right. I hope Valkyria Chronicles 4 is just a straight build on the classic games, but we'll see. I'm not going to put it up there. And then things start to thin out when you're just looking at actual like release dates. April, there's Trails of Cold Steel 2, Kai, Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection in May. So then we have all the other games that we're not sure when they're coming out. What else stands out to you?
Do you really think Anthem's coming out this year?
I don't, and I see that Dean put it on his list of stuff that there's no way. Okay, so here's what I know about Anthem. The only thing that was real in the trailer was the flying. So as far as when I started, like, I was looking into the game a little bit as I was looking into some of the Star Wars Battlefront 2 stuff, and the one thing I heard was that trailer is all bullshit except for the flying. That's the only thing they have working right now, had working at that time. So. No, I don't think it's coming out this year. We could put it up there, but I feel like it'd be a waste of a space.
Yeah.
And
we also don't really just ultimately know enough about it. Like,
right.
Like, there's a part of me it's like wants to be hopeful that Metroid Prime 4 is coming out this year, but I literally know nothing about it except it's Metroid Prime 4. So.
And they did say it was coming out this year, right?
Did they? I don't think they even did. I don't think they actually did.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
it's
not
just
sure.
got announced.
Man, okay. Yeah, that's one I would like to put on here too, but we don't. Yeah, you're right. We don't know anything about it.
It's actually strange that there's not like Nintendo-wise anything big. I mean, there's a Kirby game, a Yoshi game. Both those, like, it's nice.
Right.
But yeah, there's not like we know Zelda and Mario coming up. We did last year, right?
Right.
It's kind of weird. That's one reason why I feel like Metroid Prime 4 has to be next year. I mean, like, what else is gonna come? But
yeah, if you draw a line from this year, we could talk about Nintendo for a second because you're right, they are in a weird position. If you draw a line from like what they did this year that worked so well into 2018, you could see some of the parallels that they're gonna do. They had Mario Kart Deluxe. They're probably gonna have Super Smash Brothers 4 Deluxe, right? I mean,
right. that I'm shocked that didn't happen this year. Although now that the year's done, I kind of see why maybe they didn't need it. But I just that they gotta play that card soon.
Right. Yeah, and it's just it makes sense. Like they saw how well Mario Kart did for them. Super Smash Brothers will do the exact same thing.
Exact same thing.
Yeah, and it'll be a huge hit. And then they have Bayonetta 1 and 2 coming out, like that they're doing more of that kind of stuff, and then they're saying Bayonetta 3 is coming at some point. Maybe next year, or maybe 2018, probably 2019. We'll see. But if it comes out 2018, you can see how that would fit in, maybe in the December timeframe.
It could it could kind of take that Xenoblade spot.
Exactly. You start seeing a lot of the parallels. Where you don't see the parallels are Zelda and
you
Mario.
don't have the big marquee titles yet, really.
Right.
Is the big thing, and it's got to be something.
And you think like, okay, so they clearly took a lot of like Wii U development and said this is going right to the Switch right now. This is for games that didn't come out. That's why Zelda and Mario came out in the same year, because they were ready for it. But I mean that also makes it seem like they would be maybe having stuff coming out that would be scheduled for later than that might be ready for this year, and maybe that is Metroid Prime 4. But I don't know. I hope it comes out this year.
Yeah, I am bracing myself a bit for like this second year to be not quite as strong as that incredible first year.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe they do DLC for Super Mario Odyssey. I'm still with you. I want a sequel. I just want the Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, it's like I can see how 2019 could be amazing because you can maybe have that. You could have the Pokemon game. Like that's not happening this year. Some people think it is. I don't think there's any.
I've kind of shifted from that. They said they're gonna sell a ton of Switches this year, and I was like, the only way they could hit that number is if they had a Pokemon. And now, as you look and see how well this thing is selling, just without that, It's like, okay, maybe they don't need a Pokemon yet, and then it'll sell even better in 2019, which is kind of a staggering thing to think of.
Unless they finally do the thing that like we say they should do, where they're taking what was supposed to be a one of the remake ones. I think what's the next one, Diamond and Pearl. Like it was going to be a 3DS game, so why they say no, that's a Switch game now. It's going to kind of look like a 3DS game, but whatever. Unless they do that, like then I can see a Pokemon game being on Switch, but there's no way the next gen Pokemon game is coming out this year.
Right. I think I'm right there with you. So let's see. Looking at like the really big games now, I'm kind of running out of them. I would say Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which is an indie game, shifting gears a little bit. That's one I'm hoping actually does come out in 2018. It's gotten delayed a bunch of times. It's that Castlevania-like from Igarashi. Man, I'm ready for one of those. I'm really glad that we are in a period where there's a ton of people with like democratized tools that can make Metroidvanias as much as they want. There was something about those Iga Castlevania games that just spoke to me, and I was so happy as they were coming out every year on the Game Boy Advance and then the
really
DS.
Was this for a bit.
It's something I could look forward to all the time. I was working shitty menial task jobs, and I would be like, okay, I got 5 minutes here. I'm going to play a little bit of this, and then go home and play it for the rest of the night. I am ready for another one of those. So, I played it at E3 a little bit, and I was just like, yeah, this is perfect. Cool, lay it on me.
Yeah, it seems like it feels really good. Just I hope it doesn't somehow become another Mighty Number 9, but it seems like it shouldn't be.
Right. Yeah. Like as we were saying earlier, I am going to totally get my hopes up for this one because I want it. Yeah. So, what are you looking at now?
There's only one more I wanted to maybe bring up, and that's Ni no Kuni 2, just because it's
fair.
It's a big It's kind of the big JRPG this year. Unless I guess maybe Shin Megami Tensei 5 is coming out for the Switch this year, and that's another one.
What about Shenmue 3?
No.
No.
But Ni no Kuni 2 is still kind of niche, so maybe it's probably not top 5. I think we can start whittling this down.
Yeah, let me. I'm gonna go through this list real quick. Let me just name games and not talk about them, just so people can hear. We'll see. Let's see. There's actually, there's not much that we didn't mention. MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. I am looking forward to that. We'll see, but that's not going to make this list. Metro Exodus. I hope that's good. I really like that trailer that they showed at E3. I hope it's more friendly than some of the other Metro games.
I kind of just missed that series. Like it just never was. Yeah.
It looked really good though. They had really good crossbow gameplay. Yeah, Frostpunk. That's that sci-fi real-time strategy survival game where you're like in this like last city on Earth and on Earth that's covered in ice. Looks really good, but we'll see if it actually plays out that way. Darksiders 3. Anything there for you? Yeah. I mean, Darksiders 1 was a really interesting, cool game. Darksiders 2 was less so. Okay. I mean, Age of Empires. We'll see if that sequel comes out. They're doing a definitive edition, I guess. Okay. So yes, we have the list here. If you're watching the video version, you could see our list, but I'll just read it real quick, and we will start whittling this down. I think we're going to be able to get to 5 relatively quickly.
Sure.
Kingdom Hearts 3, Red Dead Redemption 2, Shovel Knight, King of Cards, Mega Man 11, Spider-Man, The Last of Us Part 2, God of War, Dragon Ball Z, Sea of Thieves, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, Ni no Kuni 2. Mike, I will. I really am looking forward to Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, but I'm willing to like drop that for just to keep Mega Man 11 on the list if you want it there.
And I'm willing to take Ni no Kuni off there too.
Okay.
Right now, so
cool. Yeah, I'm gonna move them over then.
Go ahead with that.
Yeah. I mean, those are games that I'm sure that we'll love when they come out if they even live up to half their hype. But yeah, we'll see. I do think I want to keep Sea of Thieves on here. I think we were mentioning that.
Yeah, Sea of Thieves seems real interesting. It's just different from a lot of not only the games this year, but a lot of games last year.
Right.
It's a game and it's also a game that they've been talking about for a while, right? And there's been a lot of kind of build up to it. So yeah, it's like that's definitely one of the 2018 games that seems the most interesting.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it. It just seems like it's different enough, and hopefully it does, just distinguish itself from Destiny. I think it will. Kingdom Hearts 3, you think it should be on there?
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm so looking forward to that.
All right, good.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's gotta
it's
be.
Cool.
Gotta go.
Here's the thing. I don't think I feel that way about any of these games the way you feel about Kingdom Hearts 3. So that's totally okay with me. If someone's passionate about it like that, I want to hear it. I think God of War probably gets on there too, but let's.
I think God of War gets on there.
Yeah, let's get it over there.
Yeah, there's a couple now that like.
Right, are in the same.
Like I can almost say maybe Dragon Ball Z no, just because I mean
Right.
it is ultimately a 2D fighting game that's coming out very soon. Like it doesn't have as much of this kind of built up as some of these other games, right?
Right.
Where we've known about them for years, we've been kind of drooling over it.
Yeah, like I mean, I think if we just go for it, it would be Red Dead Redemption 2 and The Last of Us Part 2. But I'm almost like I don't know. I feel like that doesn't necessarily work. I mean, do we get this?
You know that I would like Mega Man on there, but
Yeah, and I okay, but the one I would drop is Last of Us Part 2. Would you be okay with that? I don't
here's
know.
my thing, because personally I kind of agree, but man, it is The Last of Us Part 2, right?
Right.
Like this is Sony's probably like if you ask Sony if you can only keep one of your exclusives this year, which one is it? They would probably tell you, oh, Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
I think Dean would also kill us if he were
Yeah,
here.
that's true. But then he would also kill us if we left off Red Dead. I guess we could take off one of the ones we've already put up. I mean, maybe I don't know. I really want Sea of Thieves up there. I guess maybe God of War.
No, God
Yeah.
of War's better. Ah, shoot.
I mean, is it just this list? Is it just Sea of Thieves, Kingdom Hearts 3?
it
God of
is.
War,
I think I kind
Yeah.
of hate it in a way that
Me too. But I think you're right.
But-
I mean, if I'm being honest with myself, like if I'm like speaking for our site and as someone trying to tell people what are the games you should be looking forward to, these are probably the 5 games, probably.
and
There's some interesting stuff on the periphery here. Some stuff that I'm maybe personally more excited, but like Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, that was an easy cut, even though that's maybe the one I'm looking forward to the most. But who knows if it don't even come out? I don't even know that much about it. We'll see. I don't know. So yeah, I think this is probably the list.
yeah, it hurts for me not to have Mega Man 11 on there, but
Okay.
I get it. I get it.
We could just I think we can order these. You want to put Kingdom Hearts 3 number 1? I don't really know what I would put above it.
I certainly do. If you're not going to give me any opposition.
I don't think I will. I mean, I don't.
Oh.
I just like I said, I'm not. These games, I want to play them all. I'm just none of them are like standing above the rest for me. I just kind of for all of these. I mean, I just want to play them and see how I feel afterward. Right now, I'm not putting too much of myself into them. Yeah, who knows? It's a list of some really big games. A lot of there's like 3 Sony things. Kingdom Hearts 3 is PlayStation 4 only, right?
No, I think it's going to be both.
Okay.
Actually.
Okay. Well, no. Does this list work in this order for you, or should we move something above Sea of Thieves? Maybe Red Dead Redemption 2 up there. You know what? Let's just swap those 2.
Yeah, I was supposed to maybe Sea of Thieves should be last, and
Yeah.
then I almost want to put God of War above Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, let's do it. I
I'm
agree.
looking
Let's do
forward
it.
to that.
No, I want to do that.
And then I think it's okay. Gosh, I have to say, even I feel a little silly about Kingdom Hearts 3 being number 1. Maybe God of War should be number 1.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Even I feel a little silly about it.
Good. See, I knew you'd be honest with yourself if I just gave you the opportunity, Mike. I knew it. I believed in you.
You almost let me get away with it, but I was like,
I believed in you. It worked out in the end. Okay, no, this looks right to me. Number 1, God of War, and then Kingdom Hearts 3, Red Dead Redemption 2, The Last of Us Part 2, and Sea of Thieves. That sound good, Mike?
I like it.
All right, cool. All right, that's going to do it for the podcast. I think I hear my baby crying, so I'm going to go take care of her. Let's end this thing. Mike, tell people where they can find you on the internet.
I was at GameSpeed. I'm also on the Exploding Barrel podcast. That's at ebpodcast.com and anywhere else you find the pods. And yeah, that's me. I'm Tolkoto on Twitter, TOLKOTO.
And I am Jeff Grubb on Twitter, youtube.com/Jeffrey Grubb for some videos, and twitch.tv/Jeff Grubb. Probably going to do PUBG Family Dinner tonight if I can find some time. We have CES coming up next week. We'll have some stuff about that, but there's only a handful of gaming announcements. It's usually hardware related. We got some embargoes. You'll keep an eye on the site. Who knows what we'll talk about next week? Maybe some crazy stuff will happen. Maybe someone come out and say, fuck Oscars again. That's what I want.
Oh, man.
All right, Mike. It was good talking to you. I'll talk to you next week.
Yep.
All right, man. All right, I'm going to go check on this baby.
Okay.